Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Can y'all hear me? Give me a 1 2 3. If you can hear me, give me a 1. West. I was gonna throw up the gang sign, but I ain't gonna do it. Give me a 1 if y'all can hear me. Let me go ahead and share this here. I'm about to do a show with my good brother Angryman.
Homie, the big homie, Captain Tazaryach. Now, I just call him Cap. You feel what I'm saying? I call him Captain, kind of like how I refer to Captain America. You feel what I'm saying? But yo, we got him in the building. We about to chop it up and talk some real deal type stuff. So y'all make sure y'all go ahead and show some love in the chat room for the homie Captain Tazaryach. What's good with you, bro?
Hey, oh wait, let me make sure I'm unmuted.
Muted.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, man? Listen, man, it's good to be back. You know, it's always good to be black. It's always good to build with a brother. So I'm actually glad to be back. We have a good history together. You know what I mean? We had a smooth introduction, then went off the Richter scales, then came right back.
Yeah, man. It be like that sometimes.
You know, and that's not really a bad thing, because what it does is it shows that men can be spirited about their positions, but that don't mean they gotta go outside. Like once the position is over, you ain't gotta have like this venom like that lasts forever. Like AKA this ain't gotta be like women, where women would hold that. Nah, you heard what he said about me. I can't talk to him no more. But you know, we was able to be men, you know what I mean, be brothers. And so I did dig that a lot though. I do dig that a lot though. I do.
Yeah, man. So yo, for everybody that's watching, if you're not familiar, you should be familiar with Captain Tazaryach, man. You got clips all over the place.
Cap is cool, but I know you said you call me Cap. That's cool. If you can say Cap, you don't have to say your whole name. It's up to you. I know you're like, damn, thank God I ain't got to say that shit. No,
no, because you know what? I'm a stickler for that type of thing, right? So if somebody's in my chat room and like say they super chat and I can't pronounce their name, I'll just say, okay, I'm not gonna pronounce it because I don't want to butcher it, because I'm a stickler for that type of thing. And that's one thing I noticed about you when I the first time I was over there on Tommy's show and you were up there, somebody mispronounced your name and like you was looking down at the phone. As soon as they said it, you kind of looked up and said, nah, bro, that's not how you say it. I said, yeah, so he a stickler like I am. You feel me?
Right.
Like, for instance, this is what's funny. Sometimes when people write my name, like if I'm on their show, they'll separate angry and man. And it annoys me because I'm like, no, it go together like Superman, not, you know what I'm saying? So
right. No,
I'm
I get what you're saying.
Stuff like
yep, I get exactly what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a stickler for stuff like that. But yeah, man, to everybody that's watching, you know, I've seen some of your interviews recently, because I was like, when I saw you on Tommy's show or whatever, I said, okay, brother Hebrew Israelite, I'm listening to where you saying your background is, and I'm looking at some of the people you know, especially when Sinetta came over there. So I'm like, yo, let me go look up the brother, because there was one point that I used to consume, like, I don't know what to call that side of the internet, but I used to consume that a lot. So like I used to watch
like the Sinetta side in the House of Conscience.
Yeah.
I call it the blackity black world. That's what I call it.
Blackity black world. Because some folks call it Hotep, some folks call it you know, a lot of different names, but
Sinetta called it the House of Consciousness. That's like his mantra. So like, to put a little respect on Sinetta's name, because he's been in the game for a while. He started off on the streets, 125th Street, across the street from the Apollo. He used to have pictures of the hangings and lynchings and stuff like that. And he actually got videos where he got white people bowing down. And so we went from the VHS tapes and DVDs to begin to put together debates. So people would come on the streets first with the blackity black. Now I say blackity black because that's what I think of them. But if I'm gonna try to be nice now, so they would come with their Egyptian knowledge, Kemet knowledge, all type of different conscious type of, even Islam, some Christian, but it was mainly like what black people would be talking about. That's what he used to do on 125th Street. Then he used to do the debates. So he had the General Setties on there. He's had the Brother Polites on there, the Sutex, the Unks, and all different types of people on there. And then I met him in like 2013. I met him. The first time I met him, he gave me a DVD that was trash in the Bible. I threw the shit in the trash.
Well, yeah, you know, a lot of those brothers, I will say that they will go in on the Bible. Like I used to watch a lot of them. I watched SETI. I watched Polite before he got caught up in that mess, a bunch of that mess. In fact, one of the funniest videos I seen, Polite was doing a debate with somebody, and he had the projector up, and he was showing clips or whatever, and he was talking about Dr. Khalid Muhammad. And he was saying that Khalid Muhammad's son wrote a book or something and said that Khalid Muhammad wasn't taking care of his kids or whatever. And he was saying something, and the crowd turned on him. And there was one brother in the back. There was one brother in the back. He's like, "Yeah, go ahead and tell another lie, Polite." Just like, God.
Listen, they ain't play about that because Khalid. They didn't play about Khalid because Khalid was like the militants of militants. So like no slander, wanted to be tolerated. And it's interesting he would talk about Khalid when his spiritual father is under jail for the same thing he's in jail for now. Yeah, like Malachi York is in jail for underage girls and children and boys. And then Polite is in jail for what he did to an underage girl as well.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. And that's really unfortunate, not unfortunate that they're in jail, but unfortunate that you have brothers out here that's attempting to educate Black people on certain things, and then something like that happens,
right?
And it puts a dark cloud on. See, then people be like, "See, I told you those brothers was full of it, or they was this, or they was that." You know what I'm saying?
And then you got to fight that. And you got to fight that. Because now you being the right guy that's trying to speak and do it right, now you got to battle with, and that's all it takes. All it takes is one cat to come along, say some garbage, be a criminal. Now we all criminals because of his act.
Yeah,
that's diabolical right
there. Yep. So let me and so you're based in New York?
Well, I live in Jersey. Like I'm
okay.
I hate New York. For me,
tell us why you hate New York.
Like, I hate the traffic. I hate the prices. I hate the congestion. I hate the way they communicate. Like I don't like New York. Like before I was being like an Israelite, I didn't go to New York like that. Occasionally, like I wanted to go in New York, come out of New York. So I'm from Jersey, and I was born and raised Jersey City, New Jersey. And so when I started doing this here as far as teaching and being an Israelite, the school that I'm in, ISBK, is founded in New York, but they was based out of Philly. We didn't have no school in Philadelphia. So this was like back in 2010. So I had to like build up the school in New York. So I built the school that's in New York. I got us a building, got us teaching on the street and stuff like that. So before I got there was no teaching on the street. So I was able to do that through the Most High and under the leadership of Commander Jenny Han. I was able to do that. So now we do have a school. So I go to New York a minimum of 2 times a week, sometimes 3. I go to New York on Thursdays and then Saturdays. Thursday, I do my class and do my radio show. And then Saturday, we teach on the street.
Word. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So the funny thing about what you said about New York, New Yorkers actually hate those same things too. They just hate when someone who isn't a New Yorker points it out.
Right.
They be like, we can talk shit about the city, but y'all can't, they got that energy.
Real
you
talk.
Feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So what so let me ask you this. So what what led you to what led you down the path of becoming a Hebrew Israelite? Like what epiphany did you have, or what guidance or what situation made you look in that direction?
Watching one conspiracy theory video. There was a video, it was like a blood sacrifice video where apparently, you know that song Run This Town with Jay-Z, Rihanna, and Kanye?
Yeah.
So there was some cat that said that video was about blood sacrificing. And so this was back when a lot of people was making videos saying these entertainers, they doing this blood sacrifice, they killing their kids, they doing this, they doing that. So this was back during that time. And so when that happened, I'm just watching those videos. I'm just watching those videos, getting seduced like everybody else into thinking that these people really could be blood sacrificing or what have you. And I'm watching the video. Are you changed? Oh, okay, good. Okay,
I switched it up.
I was gonna move the camera. That's actually dope. So as I'm watching the videos, you know, when you watch the videos, you see on the side, you see the suggestions. So when I see the videos on the suggestions, it was something that said, you know, black people are the Israelites. And I just clicked on the video, and it was so intriguing because I had heard of it, but I never knew what it was. So it was so intriguing. I started watching it. And then the more I watched it, the more it made sense to me of who we are. And so I just kept looking, and I kept finding people to talk to, found this group of brothers to talk to, found that group of brothers. And then I found my organization, ISUBK. And when I got there, the first thing I seen was they had a white man kissing their feet. And I said, this must be where God want me to be. No bull crap. I said to myself, oh, this is where God wants me to be. He wants me to be right here. And so when I saw that, that's what made me rock with it. That's what made me rock with it. And so I've been rocking with it like ever since, where now if you know, I've been studying it. And then I started getting to like different debates. And the thing about debating is, like, I've been debating since I was a kid, because I was arguing with my mother left and right about anything. It didn't matter what it was. I was arguing like any boy, you know, because Pops, he was in and out. So any boy, I'm just arguing and arguing. And so debating was kind of easy for me to do. And so that's kind of where I got popular from. Like when I started doing the debates and doing more debates, that's how I got popular, because debates is almost like battle rap. You know, I don't know if you watch battle rap, but I love battle rap. I love battle rap. So I love the Luxes, the Geechee Gottis, the Sue Surfs and stuff like that. So once I got into that realm of debating, that's really what put me in a different space. And so I just been doing that ever since. And what I try to do is I try to be biblical without having to force the Bible down people's throats, because people don't want to hear Genesis all day. They don't want to hear Matthew, Mark. That's going to be a turnoff. So I try to just talk as if I'm being biblical and relatable at the same time. And so that's how I'm able to kind of like blend in different environments, because I done been everywhere. Like I'll be with Whack 100. And you know, he's crazy as hell. That's my brother. Like I rock with Whack, but he could be off the meter. But I can go in spaces with him and deal with him, or I can go in other spaces and deal with somebody else. So it's just always been like that. That's how I started doing it.
Okay. So and yeah, you right about that. That's when I first saw the brothers debating each other. That's the first thing I thought about. I was like, yeah, this is like battle rap, but for intellectual type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because around that time, that's mostly what I consumed on YouTube was the brothers debating each other. Because I love to hear a good debate if it's between two people that are actually intelligent, right?
Yep.
And then I would watch the smack videos and all of those different things. But let me ask you this. So do you feel that, because when I was younger, I kind of had this moment in my life where I kind of went towards like the nation. Like I
Mhm.
went towards the Nation of Islam, right?
Right.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that because young black men in this country are sort of lacking or needing heritage, culture, and things of that nature, we're more prone to searching for it, to trying to find some semblance of our meaning. You feel me?
No, definitely. And the Malcolm thing, when that movie came out,
Mm-hmm.
and he did that shit here and did like that here and showed the
Mm-hmm.
power of the brothers, I think a lot of us, if you don't have like a male role model, you're going to look for it somewhere. That's almost what you're searching for. Because like I always tell people, like, women don't like to hear that they just can't discipline kids. They don't have that type of power. I don't know what it is in their octave. I don't know what it is
Mm-hmm.
in their vocal cords, but when a kid hears a woman's voice, they don't think, listen, they think I can get over. Whereas when they hear a man's voice, there's something in the man's octave that just gives off the discipline, because men can just talk and a kid to stop, and the woman would have to do more. She has to act manly,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, and then it doesn't look natural when she does it.
Mm-hmm.
And so as young boys, you looking for it. So you want to know why young boys be getting into gangs or getting in this groups or getting in that groups, is because they're trying to find something that they can relate to as a young boy that's supposed to be a man. So Islam is like very easy to gravitate to at the surface level because of the men that you see. You're
Yeah.
seeing men on the front lines. You're seeing men standing. Even the way they dress, which I don't agree with the way they dress, but when you're young and you don't know, you see them dressing. They're so-called proper. The whole aura or mysticism of it does make it, attractive to want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, Israel, at least for me, I had never heard of being an Israelite. Even now in 2025, I think it's starting to get in spaces where it need to be, where being an Israelite is becoming popular. But in the 90s, when I was coming up, I had never heard of the Israelites at all. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with you. Like, we're looking like boys is looking for something. If they don't have a capable father or a capable male role model, they're going to try to find it somewhere. It's inherent in them to find it. Even if they find it in the wrong place, they'll be like, well, I ain't got no male role models here. I got male role models here. I'm gonna go here. And so
Yeah.
that's what they're looking for.
Yeah. That's actually exactly why dudes become Bloods and Crips
Mhm.
and all of the different gangs and folk
Yeah,
nation, all of that. Like
all of
I
that.
I can I can definitely see that. When it comes to, that's something that I notice that's really, it was bad years ago, but now it seems like it's just getting worse when it comes to just the concept of, it was bad enough that brothers had these issues of looking for male role models, and you know we don't really have strong traditions as far as initiation into manhood
Right.
and certain codes to live by, and all of these different things. It was already bad then, but now when you look at society, it's like they're trying to take masculinity and flip it on its head and turn it into something that is effeminate
Mhm.
and feminine, and then try to pretend like, oh well, this is the way men are supposed to be. That's how they present it.
Right.
They try to act as if masculinity is like some sort of reaction to just the harshness of the way the world used to be. And so it's like, oh well, since the world isn't harsh anymore, you know, since the world isn't harsh anymore, we don't have to be like this. We can be these sort of safer, more pseudo male, pseudo masculine, soy boys. What do you think about that as far as the game that they're running on men today?
Yeah, I think I used to blame the feminist movement,
Mm,
what black women did, and now I add the LGBTQ community to that well, because I think it's attack on both sides. Like, black men have been attacked by black women for so long. I be wondering if they hate their hatred of kids. So here's where I blame the black women, like black women, because I think a black woman hates her children every time she fights the baby father of her kids. And she teaches them a horrible lesson. Like, she can teach her son to hate being a man by how she treats the father. If she says the father ain't shit, that boy might think, well, I come from my father, I ain't shit. She disrespecting him, and then she teaches him. I was just on my Facebook, you know, like they show memories each day. They'll show Facebook memories of what you posted like the year before. So one of the videos was this mother. She got the video live, and she has her son recording him disrespecting the father. So she got the son disrespecting the father, and so they're raising the kids to be so evil and don't realize it's a trick bag, because now if the father's out the picture, the first question you asked me about us seeking manhood is also leads into this question, because as they're doing that, they're teaching the boys to be effeminate, because once you remove the father, he raises up, he acts like you. So a lot of these men that are over projecting, they can't, like, if you take, I was talking about you and I when we first got together. You and I get together and we black out on each other. But because we grew up with a certain level of manhood, it was over when the lie was over. And it's like, hey man, let us have this live so that people could see that, you know, we were just spirited in our positions, but this is how we actually are. Whereas in today's world, if that happens, we beefing online, if not in person. We going back and forth. And so I think the women play a role. The reason why I think the LGBTQ plays a role, because they add that second element that you brought in, where it's like, now society, if you're a strong-willed man, you're really the problem. You shouldn't be so angry. Why are you so angry? You should be like this. And the person that they want you to be like is the effeminate man. It's almost like why can't we be angry? Like, even the Bible say be angry and sin not. Like, why we can't be angry about a position? Why if I disagree with a position, I can't disagree as a man, I got to disagree as a woman. And so I think it's a combination of the women that raised us. I think it's a combination of the community, and you can add, for all the sisters that, you know, be getting mad when we tell the truth, you can add that there's some men that choose not to be in the life. But the reason why you might hear men rarely say that is because statistics show when the father is in the life, them children are better. Them children are better in school. Them children are better disciplined. Them children are better everything. So if women can see them stats, what they should be saying is, they should be fighting to get that man in their child's life and get out of their personal feelings about it. So I would say black woman, and I would say the community is the reason why masculine, what do they call it? Toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity.
And you know what's diabolical out of all this that we talking about? The toxic masculinity that really should be out there is the trans community first, and then the gay man second. Because there's no one more male chauvinistic than them, and women don't even see the trick bag that they in. The trick bag the woman is in, that trans man that they fight for, that they friends with, that they hang with, has made it to where they can't even talk about their bodies the way they naturally were. They have to say they're a birthing person. They have to say they're a chest feeder or something, or they can't say they breastfeed. They can't talk about their bodily parts. They done made it to where a man getting an altered chest, an altered behind, an altered voice is now a woman. And this is what they created. The gay man, I was doing this show one time and I looked up all of the fashion designers, and every single fashion designer is a homosexual. So the fashion designers that they wear are men that's telling them how to dress. The gay man can call them the B word. If you or I call a black woman the B word, they lose their mind.
They lose their mind.
But the gay man can call them the B word. So the real toxic is the gay community, but they'll have it be us because they don't want to respect that authority. It's like they've been let out that cage, and it's like, you trying to put me back in this cage where I gotta listen, but if I stay outside with them, then I ain't gotta listen. And so they compromise. And then occasionally, like I saw, I think a couple weeks ago or something like that, the Just Hilarious got into it with a gay person, because occasionally they want to check a gay person for trying to be a woman. Occasionally they want to do it. And they want to have what I call fake outrage about doing it, but they won't call that chauvinistic. Like, you would think that a woman, if a man, as you and I are having this conversation and we're talking about stopping us from being men, we recognize it on all fronts. They don't even realize that a man telling other men that I'm better than a woman for you, how can it get more toxic than that? Like, I don't see how it can be more toxic than that. You know?
Well, the thing with them, and I've noticed it too, because I always look at it like this: whenever something is BS, right, it always comes full circle. It always reveals itself in some sort of way to be BS, like especially that situation with Just Hilarious, right? So, you know, on the one hand, in the way I feel that a lot of times I don't even think that the women truly support that group. I think they just do it as a spite to us, right? Not realizing that in their support of that group, they're hurting their own cause.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I remember I was doing a show one day, and I was like, all of the women that's saying, oh, we don't want these biological men in our spaces or whatever. And they're like, don't y'all think that this is messed up, that these biological men want to come in our locker rooms? And I'm like, I'm not part of that conversation.
Right.
Like, hey, leave me out of that conversation. Look, we said something about it initially, but when you thought it was benefiting you, you were cool with it.
That's right.
But now it's like, oh, now it's like all of a sudden, because my thing is traditionalism, regardless.
Right.
regardless of what a person's background is. My thing is traditionalism, which is man, God, man, woman, child, right?
That's it.
And the man has the authority, and I believe in gender roles. And what happens is, this is when the BS comes full circle. They'll tell you, oh, there's no such thing as gender roles. Men and women are the same. Then why you don't want them in your locker room?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why can't they be in your locker room if y'all are the same? This is when the logic finally catches up to the BS. And I'm like, bro, to me, it's you know, I can't go in the way I would like to go in,
right,
because of where we're at. You know what I'm saying? But my whole thing is all of this, and we'll segue into that. All of this, in my personal opinion, is detrimental to the family structure.
Yeah.
And the moment we start having issues with the family structure, this is when you start seeing civilization as a whole have issues, which I think is what we're seeing right now. What do you think about what we see here in the Western world when it comes to the family structure and the breakdown of it, especially amongst, you know, our community, where we used to have one of the strongest family structures? You know what I'm saying? Where you go back to the freaking 60s and you might have, you know, dad, mom, grandpa, grandma, auntie, cousins, everybody living in the same house. You know what I'm saying? And got along.
Real
So
talk.
what do you think about this day and age, brother, when it comes to that?
I think it's going to take an act of God to establish that order that you just said. God, man, woman, and child. We're talking about, and I remember, statistically speaking, in 1964, we was almost becoming the #1 household as far as being married, staying together, and stuff like that, because there was traditional values. There was a value in being married. It, it wasn't a, like I was telling this story early, like when me and my sister was in my mother's stomach, my mother and father was getting married. They at the wedding because it was a shame to have sex, to have a child out of wedlock. Even if you was having sex out of wedlock, if you had a child, you had to get married. It was like, you have to make me an honest woman, was the phrase that they would use. And when you look at all of the independent, I mean, every single song. I remember Sybil Shepherd had a song. Sybil rather had a song. I'm independent. Beyonce, Destiny's Child, Salt and Pepper. You go down a list of music that influenced us to at one time stay together. Now it influences us to be apart. And so you add the drug epidemic. There's a lot, that played into it. Drugs really ravished the Black community, especially when crack hit. When crack hit, that was damn near like the death penalty. And today, it's like we're seeing all those crack babies. Like all them crack babies is now they in their 20s now, they in their 30s now, and they live with a whole different brain and mental mind state. And here's one thing that we don't do, and I always say we when we talk, so it makes it more personal. What we don't do is we don't blame the adults that caused the problem. Like we still blame. Like it's hard for me to go out there and blame them kids for the problems in the Black community when it's the adult responsibility that was supposed to correct them kids when they was growing up. That's not to say that they don't have no responsibility for what they did. But if we're talking about the root, somebody got to go to them and say, it's not your fault, because they've been told that it's their fault. They've been told that they ain't going to be shit their whole life. So they're used to that. But if they was to hear something like, it's not your fault, this is why you're that way. There was a video I seen where this brother, I don't know if he was a cop. He might have been a cop or a coach. And there was a young man he was talking to who was a little irate, angry, acting wild. And he was able to talk him out of it. And at the end of it, he was crying, the young boy. And I remember one time we was on the street teaching in Harlem, New York. I always tell this story. And this young man, he probably was like 22, 23. He threatening to shoot us. He said, I'll shoot everybody y'all got on the sign, from the niggas all the way down to the Mexicans, or something like that he was saying.
Damn. He's trying to shoot everybody on the
I'll
side.
shoot everybody on the side. And as he's saying that, my brother, Captain Ty Waters, that's dealing with him, conversating with him, he said, nah, you're going to learn how to be a brother. And the more he kept talking to him, by the end of it, that same brother was on the side crying, because he really was just a young man that never had nobody that showed him love. And if we don't show the youth love, it's not salvageable.
Yeah.
That the fix is somebody got to show compassion. Somebody got to give them something other than just stop doing this. Okay, I want to stop, but like give me hope. Like if we can give the youth hope, then it becomes salvageable. If we don't give the youth hope, if we don't stop blaming them, because that's what I see a lot of people, they want to blame y'all criminals, y'all this. There's a mayor in Baltimore. I might have brought this out on Tommy's show. There was a mayor in Baltimore, or the mayor rather, in Baltimore. He had reduced the crime rate, or the murder rate, I should say, the lowest it had been since like 74. And so they did a write-up on it. And they was like, how did he do it? And he said he treated crime as a health problem, not just Black people is a problem. Started putting in, mental help, social skills, social programs, started giving outlets. And so we almost need like a detox. And it's something that's hard in this day and age, because drugs are so easy to get access to, the musical influence so to get access to. The machine that exists does not want the Black family unit to survive. So everything that exists is like, have sex now, abort the baby, you ain't got to stay together, get with this. It's about division. It's I won't say it's impossible, because Christ said all through the Most High, all things are possible, but it's a struggle. It's a struggle.
I think I agree with you that it's probably going to take an act of God. Which is interesting because right before the pandemic, I was having a conversation. I was doing a live on my patio, and I was telling everybody, I said, look, I said, what y'all don't realize, because I think I was talking about feminism and the way women acting like they don't need men and all of this. And I said, what y'all don't realize, I pointed out to the apartment I lived in, you could see like the trees from the woods or whatever, right? And I pointed out there and I said, y'all see that? I said, that's permanent. I said, what we got, these little buildings and all of this shit, I said, this is temporary.
Right.
I said, the only thing that's permanent is like, you know, the elements, all of the things that God created. And I said, what it's going to take is an act of God for folks to start acting right. And right after that is when the pandemic happened. And I saw women have a completely different attitude.
Of course.
During the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take an act of God. Because look, I'm going to tell you the truth. Like when I talk about Black folks nowadays, I don't like a lot of these younger folks. I really don't got no hope for them. And the reason why is because I've watched the progression and it's so freaking crazy. Like I remember when I was younger and, as a Gen Xer, with everything that we had to deal with or whatever, the only thing we needed was an alternative. That's all we really needed was something different. Because for us, we only had a couple options. You either was a star athlete and you might get lucky and go to the NBA or the NFL or wherever, right? Or you could sing and dance. You know what I'm saying? Maybe act. But even back then, it wasn't like you was going to do a whole lot of acting because look, I was a kid when Eddie Murphy broke through that barrier with Beverly Hills Cop.
Right.
Before that,
it
wasn't like, you wasn't doing too much. And so the only other alternative, as far as we could see, was hustling. You know what I'm saying? Like the only people we knew in the community that was doing extremely well was the hustlers.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not like today. And even when I tell the young folks today that they on some bullshit, I tell them, I was like, yo, y'all just don't realize y'all have way more opportunity today. You have information available to you where it was hidden from us. You have information available to you and you have all of these different opportunities. You can actually do more than we could have ever done. But the problem is they've ramped up the psychological programming. You know what I'm saying? So like when we was coming up, and I told somebody this, and I don't even think they realized it. Somebody was complaining about the female rap music today. And I said, well, what you expect? They used gangster rap for the men.
Right.
Early on. And now that they've thoroughly gotten us indoctrinated into the gangster rap mind frame, now they're using rap to teach the women to be strippers and hookers and thoughts.
That's it.
And it's like, bro, until we get a grasp on that structure, that mechanism that's constantly, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to be this, you need to be that. Because it's like, how are we not seeing it? I don't understand how these folks is sitting here allowing Sierra, Beyonce, Cardi B, and Meg Thee Stallion to tell them to be single and independent when all of them want to do.
All of them. Think about it. Beyonce is the wildest out of all of them. She been with Jay-Z for 20 years, maybe?
Yeah.
Got a whole family and
arguably was with only one dude before she got with him.
Arguably only with one other dude. But she wants y'all to be single and independent and do all of that. You know what you said about the basketball and like you had to be a miracle in the black community. That's what you said. Like you had to be a miracle, and if you was that miracle, everybody gathered around you. Yep. And you know what everybody wanted you to do? Save the hood.
Yep.
You had to and the ones that make it out don't understand that burden because they're the ones making it out. But the ones that can't make it out want to get taken out. They want to go with you. And so you're the man that's going to take. They believe that if whoever makes it out the hood, take everybody out the hood because the hood is messed up.
Yeah.
And when them drugs came, the last saving grace that could have been something, believe it, well, not saving grace in totality, but on this level, was the music. Because the music before the gangster rap took totally over, because gangster rap existed, you had the Schoolie D's and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when they found that niche of gangster rap, they said, okay, we're gonna slow down the Public Enemies, Arrested Development. We're gonna, because at one time all that music existed together.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was listening to Kid from Kid and Play said him and NWA did a tour together. Like they was on a tour together. Now just think about that. Kid and Play is if NWA is at the top of gangster, Kid and Play ain't nowhere even on the level of gangster rap at all. But they can go to tour together because there was a time that all genres of all types of hip hop could exist. So it wasn't just one lane or one thing we was listening to. So yeah, you had the gangster rap, but you had the what you would consider like positive rap. You had the X Clans, XYZ like that. And then the play came is where we're gonna make sure we pump the gangster music out. Even with the females. You had the Queen Latifahs, like who you calling a bitch? UNITY. You had that type, and you had the Lil Kim's then, and then you had Lauryn Hill, who people say arguably gave the best female album ever, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So that they can never say that there wasn't a space for all those type of music. But as they start segueing that music out, the reason why I say that was like the last straw, because that's something you could bank on, because we do listen to music and music does have an influence. And so as they segue all that music out, now it's like when Kim and Foxy come in and they're successful, it just get degraded more and more and more and more to where now I think Sexy Red, I call her a roach. That's just what I call her. That's what I call her. She got some song like Shake It When It Stink and Clean.
Wow.
She has some lip gloss with scent names like gonorrhea and stuff like that. And like that's acceptable to where we gave the music away to a people that can now use that to keep us straddling at the bottom. That like to where when someone does come with a message, it ain't gonna get no play. Well, they're not gonna promote that or put that out there.
You know what the painful irony is, and look, I tell anybody this because I'm a hip hop head. I loved hip hop, loved it. You know what I'm saying? Like to the point where it had a huge influence on my life, huge influence. But I grew up listening to Tribe Called Quest, J. Rue the Damager,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Souls of Mischief, and of course you had but even when you had the rap that could have been considered a little more tougher, like the boot camp clicks and things like that, they talk street, but they still was dropping knowledge in what they were saying. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Right.
And so like you have that, and here's the crazy thing. This is the irony of it. The irony is gangster rap would have never stuck if it wasn't for that other rap that gripped us first.
Right.
If it wasn't for the other hip hop that gripped us first, that gangster rap, if they would have just came out, if gangster rap would have been the first rap that came out, we would have rejected it outright. We wouldn't even listen to it
at all, because we didn't want that, because we still wanted to be, and the crazy part, a lot of them rappers that was rapping like that was living like a street life too, but the street life wasn't something that you wanted to glorify like that. It was something like you wanted to downplay because you didn't want, you actually cared about the kids. You actually cared about kids
in the neighborhood.
And you didn't want the neighborhood destroyed. I was watching the movie The Wire. I remember on the movie The Wire, they was like, damn, you did that on Sunday. They used to have a day where you couldn't do no crime. You know, and I'm not taking up for criminals, but they tried to have, you know, some morality. They tried, right? They had to try to have some common sense. And so you see it just slowly be deteriorating.
Yeah.
Which
remember they even had Omar's grandmother's crown.
Right.
They had the hat. It was like, you really gonna shoot at a dude and his wrinkled grandma on Sunday? Like, y'all, he said, look, he said, do you know what a bona fide church lady is? He said, I know you don't, because if you had a bona fide church lady as your grandma, you would have known better than this shit. Like,
real.
But the crazy thing about it, I even remember there was certain things that, like, a lot of the dudes that was hustlers and street dudes, you know what I'm saying? Like, they knew my grandmother, they knew like all the women in the neighborhood, all the men in the neighborhood. If they saw older folks, they was always respectful. You know what I'm saying? Like, if cats was shooting dice on the corner and you saw some older ladies, like, they would hide the dice and, you know what I'm saying, try to move, like,
wait till she walk by.
Yeah, like, we not gonna do that in front, but it's and me personally, I'm gonna tell you what I think part of it is. I think we had more respect for the community as a whole, the culture as a whole, when we were more church going. I think we had way more respect because it kind of instilled some sort of structure. Like, you had to go to church on Sunday, you had to dress nice, you had to freaking act like you had some sense while you was in there. You know what I'm saying? But now it's just like we don't have anything. It's like it's just Wild West now when you look at the community.
Yeah, I think because as our generation, because I believe you and I are around the same age, as our generation was growing up, we still had the remnant of what the generation before us had, those values. A lot of, even if the men didn't go to church, you had the values of what respect was. You had the values of the community. This is where you stay. Like your community looking like something mattered.
Yeah.
And as the younger people that's coming up under us, it just slowly deteriorated because we start forcing them to grow up before their time. I remember I was given a pack when I was, I think, 12 or 13. I didn't know it was a pack. I know now that it was a pack, but I didn't know it was a pack back then. Hey, take this up the street. That's as far as it went when I was 13. Now you got the 13-year-olds selling, like, outright, knowing that they selling, outright knowing, you know, and they don't have no discipline. So you forcing teenagers without a father, without a structure, without anything, to live in a neighborhood and conduct themselves as an adult when they don't even know what that is. They don't even know how to pee straight. They don't even know what life is about. And then you want them to respect this lady walking down the street when they are an absolute savage. So at the same time, when we're talking about the respect that we had, we're the ones, or I say, like, our generations is the ones that really set the fire that ended up being a nuclear bomb in the community. Because the reason why when the dope comes in the 70s and stuff, because we still had the values, it didn't affect. We still had rules, we still had morals. And then as more drugs is pumped into the community and we become more poor, and so we looking at the drugs, like you said, we looking at the drug dealers and looking at the fast life. We want access to that because that brings the money faster than going to this 9 to 5. And so the more we get into that life, the more criminal we be, the generation the criminal the generation of criminal, so it's expected to just deteriorate. It doesn't get better. Whereas in the reverse, if we had the family structure and that family structure is staying, it gets better. It gets better because we get to see like these girls and boys, because we grew up in single homes, we don't know what a relationship is. When you get in your first relationship, you're really just figuring it out because you never saw, like I saw, even as my father in and out, when my father was around, I got to see how a man loves a woman. I got to see how a man hugs her, how a man talks to her, how a man laughs at. I even saw disagreements, but I got to see both from my actual parents. So I was able to see that. Whereas kids nowadays, for the most part, ain't seeing that. They seeing their mother with multiple men. So what does that teach? That teaches the girl to be a whore. That teaches a brother not to respect anybody. Because why do I got to respect them when I'm seeing all these men? My mother have sex with all these men. Why do I got to respect this? This is what it is. Nobody had respect for my mother, so I'm not going to have respect for nobody else's mother. And that's the trauma that we deal with mentally. And so the way we reconstruct it, like in my school, we try to reconstruct the thought process of adults. Because a lot of people that come into our school are in their 20s, they're in their 30s, they're in their 40s. And so now we got to restructure their corrupted mind state to try to give them a dose of reality. Hey, you can't keep sleeping with these women. You tend to turn these women into whores. You can't keep having sex with these men. You are a whore. So we almost got to reset ourselves. You would have to self-evaluate. If you really care and you want to make a change, you can't expect, like, that's the one thing I be hating when people want handouts from the white man. We don't need handouts from the white man, because getting handouts from the white man is going to stop you from correcting your own actions. If you just get a hand, if you hand somebody something and they didn't have to do nothing to earn it, you're not teaching them a lesson at all. But if you give something to somebody where they actually have to earn it to get it, and you can instill some values on the way to get it, once they get it, now they have a blueprint of how they have to do to get that and more. So I don't like, we don't need a handout from anybody, but we do need self-evaluation to begin to correct ourselves. We could do that, we'd be better.
Oh, and matter of fact, since you brought that up, I had a stream I did the other day. I was reviewing the debate between Andrew Wilson and Coach Greg Adams.
Okay. What was the subject? What was the subject?
The subject was it was Andrew was debating in favor of marriage under religious what's the word for it? He was basically saying that marriage can only work if you have religious and social pressure to make sure that the two people stay together, right?
Okay.
And Coach Greg Adams was basically arguing that that's not going to work because nowadays that social pressure is not as prominent as it used to be, right?
Okay.
It's more about the being able to use no fault divorce, right? But in the conversation, they got on the topic of the Black community. And Andrew Wilson pointed out 3 major problems of the Black community, right? So he basically was trying to tell Coach, well, of course it's different because Coach said it's different. It's basically different for the Black community, right? So he said, of course it's different for the Black community. You got these 3 issues. And he brought up economics. He brought up the child deletion rate through Planned Parenthood. And he brought up the fact that Black households have become more matriarchal than patriarchal. And as I'm reviewing this video, I got so pissed off when he did that, because I'm like, first of all, you're arguing with a Black man about the problems with marriage. And then you bring up the Black community and you list off 3 things that we didn't create.
Thank you.
Like, we didn't create fam, I went off. Like, I'm sitting there reviewing it. As soon as he said it, I'm like, so let me get this straight. You have a group of people that created 3 problems for us that caused the breakdown of the black family.
Right.
And now you're sitting here lecturing a black man about said problems. I'm like,
that's crazy.
I'm sitting there trying my best to wrap my mind around that mind fuck. Like, I'm like, bro, and I give it up to Coach because he called it out. He told him, he said, congratulations for listing off the shit that we've known for 40-some freaking years. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
It's like, it's crazy because, you know, my thing is, look, when you have somebody like, and I know what Andrew's response would be, he'll be like, well, he didn't have anything to do with that. And it's like, bro, the thing about it is, it's crazy to me. You can't point out a problem with a group and never really address the origin of the problem. Like, I've never been one of those type of guys. Like, I'll sit there. I'm big on personal responsibility, but we're not just going to ignore the fact that it happened because of X, Y, Z. You know what I'm saying? We're not just going to ignore that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, no, we got to dive into that. You know what I'm saying? And while there were some things that that Andrew said that I agreed with, I'm like, bro, you're not just gonna skate past that.
No, you
because you brought up 1964. That is a significant year.
Yes, it is.
That is a significant year for so many reasons. I don't even think black people realize how significant that year is. That's the same year that Lyndon Baines Johnson started formulating all of his bullshit and implemented it. And you literally, I did a show one day where I showed everybody the statistics where you can see the black community doing like this from Reconstruction all the way up.
All the way up. I did the same thing.
You did?
Yeah.
And then the moment after 1965,
by 82, the shit was in the basement. By 82. By 82, because I had I was doing this lecture on I did a lecture on the miseducation of the black woman, and I titled it that. What's funny is that title came from one of my generals. He was like, if you got a woman that's being loudmouth in your house and trying to beat you down and she won't listen to you, call her a bitch or something like that. Like, basically he was like, check her. And we got a lot of flack for that. And I said, well, if you can't call a woman, if you can't check a woman that's being irate and call her a name, what can you do? So I did a lecture called The Miseducation of the Black Woman, but it wasn't how women thought. Women thought I was about to beat them down. And I was really did a lecture on how they was tricked into thinking they didn't need a man, that their education means they don't need a man, that they children that they have doesn't need their fathers. And when I was doing that research, like you said, it showed the marriage rate of us. Because I think Coach Greg was about the marriage certificate, not about marriage itself. Because black people, even if we couldn't get married legally, we had the term jumping over the broom or jumping the broom. Because the value of that union between a husband and wife meant that much to the black community, where even if we can't get married this way, we'll symbolize our bond with this jumping over the broom. And then we lost that. So if Coach Greg is talking about the marriage certificate, I kind of on his side. If either one of them is just talk about being together and actually the value of marriage itself, certificate or not, I'm with that. But the thing with the marriage certificate, though, it I think that's what's the word? Matriarchal. I think the marriage certificate is more matriarchal than patriarchal because it takes power from the man. Meaning, I always use the same example. Tom Cruise was married to Nicole Kidman and divorced her at the 8th or 9th year of their marriage, because I think if they would have stayed together for 10 years in the state of California, that 10-year marriage would mean that she was entitled to half or something like that. And he divorced her because he didn't want to get that. And I think a lot of men are scared to get married because once you get married, you know, you can lose everything. That's why everybody mad at what's the cat Offset? I think it's a little bitch, right? But she wanted to go because she offered him 10 million. And he like, nah, I don't want that 10 million. We might want
he want the grip.
Yeah,
he want the grip, but they can't look. But here's the thing though, right?
Mm-hmm.
And look, when I'm live and if I talk about that topic, I'm gonna troll the shit out of everybody. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna think it's funny. I'm gonna say, yeah, get your money Offset.
Right.
But, you know, in real life, I'm way more traditional. I'm the type of dude, I'll walk away from everything.
Real talk.
I'll be like, you can have it because I can build some more shit. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I'll walk away from everything just to get peace. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Just to be done with the headache, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they can't really be upset because these are the type of men that they claim they wanted. They wanted men that felt like women were equal to them.
Right.
So if you believe women are equal to you, then you think that, you know, you made more money than me, so we get divorced. You got to break me off some bread.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, and that's the thing they don't get. Like, if they want men to be, see, here's the funny thing. I always hear women online saying stuff like, "Where the real men at? I want a man like Pawpaw." I'm like, no, you don't. You don't want Pawpaw.
No,
you want anything but Pawpaw, because Pawpaw, like, he coming home and he gonna expect peace.
That's right.
He gonna expect food on the table. You know, there's a clip on TikTok that they always use this sound bite, and the caption be, "When you date an older man," and it's a dude in the background that sound like an older dude, and he said, yeah, I came in here and I saw that you had some hot dogs on the plate. I know them damn hot dogs ain't for me. Now, you need to go ahead and make some cornbread.
Mm-hmm.
Start going down the list. And he said, now I'm gonna go in here and sit back down and continue watching my news and drinking this yak. He said, and if I don't hear no pots and pans rattling, I'm gonna come back in here and rattle your ass. I said, nah, y'all don't want Pawpaw, because Pawpaw is a problem, bro.
No, that's real talk, because that's what you want as a man. Like, people think it's difficult to please a man, man. The first thing you do is you keep your mouth shut. You damn near like 60% of the way.
75%.
That word is bond. That mouth being quiet, because women don't even realize. Women think like, and when I'm saying mouth being quiet, not that you can't talk, because a man knows when he comes home, that woman has a litany of things she needs to get off her chest. So she has some things she want to talk about. So if it's like that, okay, cool. I'm gonna give that time. So I'm gonna give you that. That's right. Yeah, that's messed up. Ooh, like you prepare yourself for that. But if he come in the house and you in nag mode, now that's we don't need the nag. We don't need the nag mode. We done been outside battling the world, dealing with all the bullshit that's outside. When we come inside, we want to be able to sit down, kick our feet up, relax a little bit. That's what you want. So when you get that nagging, now that's when you get that monster. So I don't think women have a concept of that. Women learn about men from other women, and that's dumb.
Yeah.
But that's also because they didn't have their father to know what a man really wants. Like, a man wants peace. He wants quiet. He wants all of that. So if you ain't had a father, that's another reason why women don't listen to men, because when that man say be quiet, or that man say don't do this, or that man say you shouldn't do that, maybe you should think about this, because they ain't had a father instruct them. Like, you can't tell me what to do. Come here, bend me over though.
And this is the irony of it. The irony is, dudes will be in a relationship with a woman whose father was never in her life. And when the dude tell her to do something, the first thing she'll say is, "You ain't my daddy."
Yeah.
And I know the dudes be thinking, Your daddy wasn't your daddy. Like that Negro wasn't even around. Like what the hell? Like you look, because
Like
here's the
saying that
thing,
like it's
and
a
I
flex.
tried
That's
to
not a
break.
flex.
You said what?
I said that's not a flex saying you ain't my daddy when you ain't had no daddy.
Exactly. And look, I tried to break this down to everybody. I told the women, I said, look, if you got daughters and you've had a failed relationship, you wasn't able to find another suitable replacement to be a father figure in that household or whatever. I said, this is what you don't realize. Little girls learn to interact with men through their father minus the sexual component.
Right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if a daughter doesn't have her father, when she grows up, every man she encounters, she's trying to get the things she needs out of a man. But because that man wants sex, it trains them to think that that's the transaction. In order for me to get what I need out of the man, I have to offer sex or give him sex or whatever. It's that transactional thing. But if you're like you know, if you're a girl and you have your father's giving you all of the things that a husband would give you, but he's not expecting something from you.
Right.
So you learn how to be loved minus the sexual aspect of it. And in my opinion, when in fact, I came to that epiphany. I was watching Ray Donovan. You ever watch that show?
No, I heard of it, but I never had a chance to watch it.
Yeah, so he's like a Hollywood fixer, right? He's like the guy that they call to come clean up messes and stuff. And so one day he came home late, and his daughter was up, right? And so he laid in the daughter's bed with her, and she's laying there and he's reading her a book. And like right in that moment, I was like, that's important. Like the fact that she's learning to interact with a man without the sexual component. If young girls do not learn how to interact with that man without the sexual component, they go out here and they easily get duped and tricked all the damn time. And then they get mad at the rest of us because they encountered that one nigga, you know what I'm saying, that was on that BS, and now we all got to pay for his goofiness.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And so I always advise brothers, when y'all meet a sister, before you lay with her, man, find out about her daddy issues.
Yeah,
you got to find that out ASAP. And you know what I mean. And the body issue, right? I'm never a cat that does the body count question. But you do got to find a way to find out how many men she's been involved with to know what you're dealing with too, because all them different personalities. Women don't know how to release personalities. Like they cleave onto it. So you be dating her and the men that she thinks you're going to be that she was with. So she think you're going to be like, if she was with 3 men, let's say she was with 3 men, she's going to think that you're a part of those 3 men. She's not going to look at you as an individual just coming in brand new, fresh. She's going to take pieces and talk to you based on her past experiences. And if you don't know that, if you don't go in knowing that, you'll avoid asking those questions. When she's checking on things that you don't do at all, you got to know that's because some man did that. So you got to really delve into like relationships, man. I always tell people, like I'm a counselor, so I had to read certain books like on reality therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, stress therapy. There's certain books I had to read and study to pick up on what people are saying without saying. It actually taught me a lot about myself too, like things that I did. And so I had to release that part of myself. And so, brothers, you got to know that women is coming with trauma. I don't care what that women did. And she gonna lie to you and say she ain't got no trauma, but they coming with trauma. And if you ain't willing to deal with that trauma, don't open up them legs. You better be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Better be careful because once
that's when you that's when you're gonna find out. That's when you're gonna find out what the trauma is. Because the moment the moment that she done gave it up, now she comfortable, now she ready to release it.
Yeah. And if you accepted everything about her, because in her mind, when you have sex with her, you've accepted everything about her. It ain't when you bought her nothing. It ain't when you gave her no money. When you tapped that, you said, okay, you accepted all this savagery. You didn't correct none of this savagery. Can't try to correct it now. You accepted me who I am. So it's best, fellas, and I say this to sisters too, like sisters, you can, if there's some things you're trying to get out of that brother, don't give up that cat. You give up that cat, you accept it. It worked both ways. Like you got to really go into relationships. And that's another thing that fixes the relationship fabric. Like courting is something that doesn't even, like, people don't even consider that. Like when you coming up, you back in the day, you would try to impress a woman. You might buy a car. You might take out the dinner. I didn't say card, C-A-R-D, just for. He said, "Oh, buy him a car." He said, "Oh, buy him a car." That ain't what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about buying. I'm saying it's card. Like you go to Walgreens, Hallmark card. Like you might, like you would want to entice her with the courtship. It was something in the chase that meant something. Like if you had to chase the woman and, you know, talk to her, seduce her, you know, conversate with her, like that meant somewhere. Now it's like, hey, you trying to fuck? Nah. All right, I'm gonna go to this one. You trying to fuck? Nah, I'm going to this one. You trying, like, it ain't, there is nothing in it. And then when women give into that because they think that's gonna keep the man, and it's not gonna keep him. Because if you go, when you go back to the peace that men want, the patriarch that men want, if you are an argumentative woman, even if he still deals with you, just know he got a woman that he actually sees that's not arguing, that's pure peace, that can give him rest, that can give him ease. And she might be ugly, she could be happy. She might be the total opposite. You ever see a brother with a sister, and you be like, how the hell, what she do? She was quiet. She was quiet as hell. Because at some point, men get tired of that loud shit and that attitude and that sassing and all that shit like that. Man, men don't want that. Like you gotta save that for somebody else. So I think that's where, like, curing relationships, if you could fix the black woman and black man dynamic, it would be a ripple effect throughout the black community. It would be a direct ripple effect throughout the black community.
And look, it's like my uncle used to say. My uncle used to say, he would say, you show me a drop dead gorgeous woman, and I show you a man that's sick of her.
Man.
Because look, it don't matter how pretty a woman is, if that mind ain't right, if she's on some BS, but this is when you notice it though. A lot of people don't peep it. If you want to know, if you go back and look at all of the women from the 90s, all of the women that we, you know, used to look at like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty or whatever, right?
Right.
All you gotta do is look at them now, 40 plus, and you can tell where their mentality was. Because when men and women get to a certain age, I don't know about you, brother, but when I get to a certain age, I've gotten to this place where my tolerance level is damn near zero.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to tolerate no silliness, no foolishness, or nothing. And see, that's what the women don't realize. They think that the same things that we tolerate when we're in our early 20s, when we're really still becoming men.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The things that we'll tolerate then, you know, it's just like they say, when I was a boy, I behaved as a boy.
That's right.
You know, but when men, and I've told people this, you know, the one misconception we have about men is that you don't become a man when you turn 18.
Nah, you don't.
You don't. Like you're building into a man. You know, in my opinion, you don't become a fully realized man until like late 30s or right at 40, because that's when you get to the point where you're you know who you are, you know what you're gonna put up with, you know what you're not gonna put up with, and you're more grounded.
Right.
So a lot of times the women don't understand that, you know. And personally, I don't think they ever grew up.
Nah. Them women be stuck like a mug. You said something heavy when you said something about the women in their 40s. When you said that, I immediately thought about Vivica Fox.
Yeah.
Vivica Fox made two things she did that I thought was stupid. She recently said she regrets not having kids, and she was doing an interview. Somebody asked her what to avoid, and she said, "Brought up 50 Cent."
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean when I say trauma. That woman is still thinking about 50 Cent, and that was like 20 years ago, 19 years. I think 50 Cent and her dated like 2006 or something like that. Maybe 2000.
2003.
Stop.
2003.
22 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's still talking about 50 Cent.
And you know what's even worse?
What's that?
She didn't even date him. She didn't even date him that long. I don't even think they dated a year.
Yeah, no, not even a year. And so that's what so fellas, you want proof positive that woman be carrying them niggas? this woman's still talking about 50 Cent. She's still talking about 50 Cent. Talk about she regret having kids because now that she's old and lonely, now it's like, what do I do? What do I do with my life? I'm old and lonely. I ain't got kids. I wanted to be out here and be fast, be a hoe, do all these things. And now she's lonely because women don't think that far.
But see, she didn't understand the dude she was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
50. I'm gonna tell you one thing I know about 50. 50's probably never gonna get married. And I'm gonna tell you why. In his book, Pieces to Wait, right? Where he's his autobiographical book, right? He's talking about this one instance where he ran from the police on his motorcycle, right?
Okay.
So the reason why the police was after him is because, you know, it's one of those he fit the description situations where some dude had shot some chick on the other side of, you know, somewhere on the other side of Queens or whatever, and he fit the description. So the cops was after him, right? So he ran on his motorcycle, got away from him. So he got back home and he was trying to figure out what was going on. So he put on his grandmother's clothes in a wig and went out on the block to try to see what was going on. So he went to the block and got on a payphone to call his girl because he had let his girl use his Forerunner, right? And so he called her up, you know, trying to get in touch with her. And as he's in the booth and he looks, his girl is riding by in his Forerunner with a dude in the truck.
Right. What?
So yeah, with another dude in his truck. You feel what I'm saying? And it's not, that's like not the only story. There's another story where he went to go see this chick in some projects, and I think the chick tried to set him up or whatever. So for him, I can guarantee you, like he's jaded to the point where it's like, nah, he's not gonna trust no woman. And I think he opened up with Jada because there's not Jada with Vivica, because there's a moment where she does this interview where she says 50 tried to treat her like a princess. And it was like, well, what did you learn from that situation? She was like, let a man be a man. She said, if I would have known now, you know, if I would have known back then what I know now, I would have let him take care of me the way he was trying to. Right. So I think in that situation, I think that 50 opened up to her and she was on some strong, independent, I'm not trying to be up under no man type shit, and it threw him off, and he was like, you know what, I'm good, you know. And now she regrets it. That's why she keep bringing him up.
That's why, because she know that's the one that got away.
Yeah,
that's why she bringing him up. And this is what I mean when I say women don't understand it. They think they got to be a bull, and they think they got to be a lion or a savage or a pit bull to a man, instead of just letting a man be a man. Which go when you was talking about that toxic masculinity. Now just think, he trying to treat her right, and she didn't want it. Trying to treat it right. Like you damn near can't win for losing with these goddamn women, man. Like these women is diabolical, the way that they think that they're gonna control how you treat them. Like, I can't treat you how I want to. But then they, in reverse though, you can't tell them how to treat you. They want to do it their way. Because the women want to be dominant, which goes right back to, it may sound redundant, not having a father and their mother running roughshod being the man. They think they can be the man. Even mothers, what do mothers do? You want to know how diabolical mothers are? On Father's Day, mothers get the Father's Day card.
Yeah.
On Mother's Day, you have never seen a father say, "Don't give your mother the card. I'm the mother today." You've never seen that. Even if fathers are such good dads that even if they hate the woman, even if they hate the baby mother, they make sure that child celebrates Mother's Day. Get there. Now, I don't believe in celebrating none of that, but I do know that from growing up and seeing it, where that father will hate the mother, but will make sure that daughter or son gets something for the mother. The mother, though, on Father's Day,
bro, I'll take it a step further. Because with my kid's mother, like, the hell she put me through. But there was one point where all of my boys was living with me as teenagers, right? They started staying with me when they started turning 13, right? Because I got 3 boys, like one behind the other, right?
Okay.
And so when they started staying with me, periodically, I would say to them, "Did you call your mama? Did you check on your mama?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Did you make sure your mama was straight? And it's crazy because most people don't understand that. Like, a woman will despise the father of her children. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because me and her were together for 10 years, right?
Right.
10 freaking years. So it's crazy when you know this woman will engage in parental alienation, where she'll talk crazy about you to your children and say wild stuff. But even after you know all of that, that's why I always say that, in my opinion, the men are rarely the problem, because we understand that, you know what, I'm not going to talk crazy about your mother to you, because I wouldn't want my father talking crazy to me about my mother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So regardless of what they had going on, it's like, yo, that's what y'all had going on. I ain't trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy because the women don't really have that in them. They don't care. They don't care if it's doing damage to the kid. They don't care about any of that. Me personally, I'm like, look, if they mama do some goofy stuff, I'll let them find out once they get older and get on their own. I'm not gonna talk crazy about her. And you know, and when they were with me, I told them periodically, I said, man, check on your mama. You know what I'm saying? Because I know if I didn't say anything, they wouldn't.
Right.
You feel me? Because they kids, they in their own little world. They ain't thinking about, whatever. So yeah, like, that's, to me, I feel like the men still have it in them to be decent. And women, they just on this other shit because they keep getting taught by this society to hate men.
Yeah. And it's like there's never nothing you can't do to a man. Like you could do, especially a black man, like you could do whatever you want to a black man. It doesn't even matter. Like, I know women that, for their own selfish reasons, just because they're tired of happiness. I don't even think women know what it means, like, want to be happy. And that sounds strange, but I remember what's the twin girl that married their brother and broke up with him just so she could be single for nothing. What's the Tia and Tia
Tamara.
Yeah, broke up with him for no reason. He wasn't a bad dude. Wasn't nothing wrong with him. She just wanted to be free. She just wanted to be free, because that's how hard it is for a woman to control her nature. And of course, when I say that, this ain't every woman, for the women that get mad when we have these type of conversations, but this is a real talk, unfiltered conversation. And this is what men know from I know from my experience, and I'm pretty sure from yours, this is what we see. That and this is a warning. Somebody in your chat had asked about what advice you would give for a modern man dating a modern woman. And discipline is the first thing that pops in my head, and it's really your discipline to really draw out. Always understand this. They say women outnumber us. So the woman that you're attracted to, don't be so loose to get with her, because there's a plethora of others that you can find. And with that said, it should help you ask and drill those type of questions to see what her real values is. I'll always tell, this is what I tell brothers: get into an argument with the woman that you want to be with, so you can pull the real person out. Either she gonna be the real angel that she's presenting to you, or you're gonna pull the demon out that woman. And you need to see, you need to pull out that representative, and not just so much in the disagreement that you had, but the remnants or what comes after that. Like when, let's say you get into an argument with her today, you want to see how she acts a couple of days from there. You want to see that. Like, you can't be afraid of conflict. You got to be willing to see it, because, and you got to be willing to lose too. You got to be willing to lose. And women, y'all can use what I'm saying to y'all. Y'all can use that in reverse for the men, but you got to be willing to lose that woman to see what she's about. Like, you can't be so fixated on what attracted you to her. So like, if you're attracted to a body, you're attracted to a mind, whatever made you attractive to her, you got to be willing to lose that to gain everything, if you want to have a genuine relationship with this woman. Because you got to be willing to go into her psychology. You got to be willing to go, especially if you got a history of women dogging you out, if you got a history of women being vindictive, if you want to avoid getting the next vindictive woman, you got to go through that vetting process. That's how you do it. It's more so about you than the woman, because if you got with 4 women and those 4 women are the same, then that means you're the problem.
Yeah,
because you're attracting. If a woman come to me and tell me every man is leaving me, how many men you been with? 5. Okay, you're the problem. So it's the same thing with a brother. If you keep getting with the same type of woman, then you're the problem. You got to find out why you're attracted to these women that are doing this to you. Have you self-evaluated? So a lot of that, fellas, you got to do a lot of self reflection on your relationship type before you get
and
the next relationship.
and whoever that was that asked that question, I know good and well you better go get this book. You feel
Send
me?
me the
Because
link
I'm
to that.
talking about the
Send me the link to that book.
Oh, I got you. I talk about the vetting process in this book, about how you have to, because look, here's the thing that people don't realize, what cats don't realize. And I realized this when I was younger, right? If you in a relationship with a woman that's, and it's a bad relationship, hold on, I'll get the link for you.
Yep.
If you in a bad relationship with a woman and then y'all finally break up, right? Y'all finally break up. In fact, I think I got some copies. I'll just send you a copy, Cap.
Yeah, no,
Just
I want a link for it too. I was gonna put it in my chat
okay.
so people could buy it. I mean,
Okay,
I'll
cool.
take that too. And in exchange, you send me your address, I'll send you some of my product as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna send you the address or whatever. That link is, why is that link so long? That shit is crazy. Yo, Amazon is wilding. Like, why is that link so long? But no, like, if you're in a relationship with okay, I'll put it in the back chat.
Right.
If you're in a relationship with a woman and the relationship goes bad, right? And then you break up, I always tell guys, you should stay single for like a good year. For like at least a good year, or at least an extended period of time, so that you can kind of get it out of your system. Because if you break up with this chick and then you go back out there a couple weeks later or a month later, and you're out there what's going to happen is every woman that you come around that you feel like you don't have chemistry with, that might have been the woman that was the good woman to talk to.
Right.
But what happens is you bump into another chick. So you was in a relationship with Keisha, and Keisha was horrible. And now you out here, and all of a sudden you meet this other chick. You meet Sharika.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you like, man, we got so much chemistry. It's like I've known her my whole life. Yeah, because she the same as Keisha. You about to jump in a new relationship with Keisha again, and you don't even realize it.
Yeah,
and that's what dudes be doing. They gotta get you gotta get Keisha out of your system.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta. I tell dudes all the time: you break up, stay single. You know, go hit the gym, go work out, go
detox,
talk to somebody, go talk to a counselor, a therapist, or something.
Like, make sure that you clean and free from that, because you jump into a relationship the next week, man. There's no way you're gonna say that you're ready to jump into a relationship. It's not magic. You know, life is not magic. There's a mental aspect, physical, there's a spiritual. You know, you got this whole connection. You start thinking about her. You got to make sure that you over that person that you was with, because you carry that in, and next thing you know, you be disciplining her. I mean, y'all probably don't like the word. You be disciplining her on some shit she ain't even did. You be yelling at her about something she ain't even did because you looking at her as Keisha. Her name's Sandra. You know what I'm saying? And so I think those things play a major part. What you talking about? I think that plays a major part. Like, relationship is such a huge development. It's, you know, social skills, relationship, the mental, your past, your present, your future, all of that plays a part in relationships. And I think, like I was saying earlier, we fixed that relationship problem. Even if we just fixed the relationship problem of even just how we communicate with Black women, like, because and this part here is because, like, Black women require correction on a level nigh on to, I mean, like, Black women, y'all don't understand how y'all been tricked by everybody. You've been tricked by your mother first. Your mother tricked you first. Your mother tricked you when she turned you against your dad. Then you got society. Then you got this system. You was talking about the abortion part with what Andrew brought up, but that's another thing where abortion, if you look up the history, before abortion was legal, Black women wasn't doing it like that. They were more responsible. And now abortion, I remember this video, they was saying, how many abortions you had? 3. We listen, but we don't judge. Now that's the mantra. And then I'm just looking at them like, how do you not judge that? Like, how do you not say something about 3 abortions?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot that comes with that. But if women can listen, here's how it need to be with that structure that Angryman laid out with God, man, woman, and child. It's man's responsibility to be the leaders. It's woman's responsibility to recognize that leadership and get up under it. That's how it has to be. If we can do that, we can fix this people. We can fix Black people. We can fix our system. We can fix everything. Because a Black man being a leader, I'm not talking about being a leader that's a detriment. I'm talking about being a leader that benefits the community, benefits our people. Because people don't. There was a term called "it takes a village to raise the people," and people think that that's a bad thing. When we say the Black community needs to get better, I don't know no community that doesn't. I don't know no ethnicity that doesn't believe that system, that the community matters. Jewish, Asian, Arabs, Africans, whites, all believe in the community. We're the only ones that are taught that we shouldn't be a community. We should be just a bunch of individuals. That don't make sense.
And you know what the irony of it is? The irony is we have been and probably will always be the trendsetters. So it doesn't even make any sense, because if you don't fix the Black community, it's going to spread to every other community. It already is. It already is. I be seeing, I be on TikTok. I now see Asian chicks talking about their baby daddy. you know how insane that is because growing up, one thing I remember is the Asian community was extremely strict.
Yep, extremely
on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that type of behavior, it's like, bruh, like it's so, you know, I've heard brothers say that the black community is the canary in the coal mine.
What does
I
that mean?
remember, huh?
What does that mean?
So basically, back you know back in the day when they used to dig in coal mines or whatever, they would have a canary in the cage in there. So if there was any like fumes that they couldn't smell that would, you know, take you out, the canary would die. So it was an indicator that there was something wrong going on. So
Okay.
yeah, so the black community is the canary in the coal mine because whatever happens to us, it usually ends up happening to the overall society.
I get what you're saying. Right. Okay.
You feel what I'm saying? So when we see the black community going through these different things, it's foolish that the overall society isn't more concerned about it. And I'm not talking about the white liberal savior complex bullshit. You know,
Right.
the actual concern. You know what I'm saying? Like I was on a panel and I got into a back and forth with this guy named Jack, right? I call him David because he looks like David from Roseanne, right? Darlene's boyfriend. So we get into this back and forth about illegal immigration, right? And he's talking about the illegal immigrants and blah, 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 blah. And some white liberals, this is one thing I noticed about them. They're so dedicated to their phony cause that sometimes in their passion of defending minorities, they forget that they're talking to a minority.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so he's going off. And I finally said, bro, you want to know why I don't care about none of that crap? And he was like, why? I said, because it is disgusting to me to sit back and watch all of y'all have a hissy fit over illegal immigrants that just got here. Meanwhile, my people have been in this country struggling for I don't know how long, going through whatever, going through this, that, and third. That dude looked in the camera, looked at me, said, so you a victim?
Damn.
I said, so let me get this straight. I went off, bro. I said, so let me get this straight. I said, so everybody can be a victim but the black man.
Right.
I said, we the only one that can't be. And it's funny because when you brought that up earlier, talk about you could do anything to a man, especially a black man. Don't you find it in this day of tolerance when we have to be considerate and understanding of everybody? It's like, well, yeah, you have to be tolerant and you have to accept everybody until you get to the black man. The moment you get to the black man, all that empathy, all that shit just flies out the window. And I'm like, cause my thing is this, like lately, you know, I've been going on panels where it's, you know, mixed company and all of that and stuff. And the one thing that I pointed out, and I'm going to keep pointing it out because I get tired of seeing it. I cannot stand when a non-black man talks to a black man in a condescending way as if we don't understand the damn world that we live in.
Right.
It's almost like you don't understand. Let me explain it to you so that you can understand your world. Like, how are you explaining to me my world and my community and what I experience? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And like I told that one dude, I said, bro, I said, y'all are fake and y'all are phony. You really, your posturing and your virtue signaling, because at the end of the day, you don't really care about these people. You just want to be seen as a savior.
Mm-hmm. And when
you want to be seen as a savior without putting in the real work.
Yeah. And when you say seen as a savior, when you brought up black people, they can't be a savior because they're the devil in that analogy. That's why you can't talk about black people. You can't talk. You're always going to be considered a victim and thrown off because as they talk about everybody else, they can kind of not be the criminal element of that. But whenever we talk about it, they have to make it a victim, because if it's not making us a victim, and we got to talk about the victimizer, it's them, and they don't want to be seen talking about what they did, so they have to flip it. So they want to be community activists, just not to the whole community. They want to be community, as long as they don't have to take accountability for their actions, then they just don't want to do it. And that's the biggest struggle that we'll always have. We'll always be dumbed down to victims. The plight of the Ukrainians will always be understood, and I think it should be. The plight of the Palestinians, the plight of everybody going through a human atrocity should be talked about. It should be addressed, including ours.
Yeah.
But the one of ours requires accountability from the people that just don't want to accept that accountability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's going to be a strong struggle for us. And that's why you heard me say earlier, we have to be accountable ourselves. I always point out the root. So the root can be what happened to us in America, but as you can see, we're not going to get no help from them. So okay, we can keep that point right there and always bring that point right there, and at the same time reverse the damage that they did by just being accountable ourselves. So we can do both things at the same time. Like, that's our main talking point. Like, when people, like for Israelites, we always talk about, people will say, y'all always talk about white people, why y'all do that? I said, I don't see nothing wrong. Just like the Jewish man can talk about German history and what the Germans did, and they're not looked at wrong. There's nothing wrong with us talking about it. What would be wrong with us talking about it is if we weren't trying to do anything ourselves. If we was like people that talk about reparations, right? I'm not saying whether we should or should not receive. That's not why I'm mentioning it. But if you're talking about reparations, like you should be handed something, but you don't do nothing, you shouldn't get it. You shouldn't even be in the conversation at all. But if you're taking accountability for what we've done to ourselves, along with what they've done to us, now that's somebody I can at least take serious and listen to. Well, let me see what you got to say about it, because you're acknowledging what we did too. And so when people usually speak against us, they never hear that part of us being accountable for our actions. Because when you spoke, if you'd have let that guy speak and he just talking and being all liberal and everything like that, you just let him get away, but then you gave him a dose of liberal that he wasn't too liberal about.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think, what jammed that whole joint up right there.
Yeah, it's like I just thought of an analogy. It makes sense if there's a person in the neighborhood that used to be an alcoholic and they decided to no longer be an alcoholic, but now that they're sober, they're going to the city council meeting saying, hey, bro, why we got all these liquor stores in our community? But it's kind of crazy if you're a wino or an alcoholic down there at the city hall complaining about
exactly
complaining about the liquor store. Like, you sir, you're drunk right now. Why are you complaining about the and that's my biggest issue with it, because we had the conversation when slavery was brought up, right? My biggest issue is, it's not that I want Black people to forget history, because I understand that those who forget history are doomed to repeat it.
Right.
So you can't forget it, but it annoys me. It annoys me because before I even joined the nation, I was always part of like what we considered the conscious community, right? So so I'm one of those brothers that had knowledge of self. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's annoying to me when I hear somebody that's Black complaining about slavery, because nowadays a lot of the information that I had to go get from books, from reading, they've become memes. And the problem is those memes don't have any context. So you now have pseudo intellectuals that are pseudo pro-black and they don't have the full picture because they didn't go to the bookstore to find the miseducation of the Negro, to find the ISIS papers, to find, any of these books to understand the totality of it. So whenever I hear somebody complaining about slavery and Jim Crow and all of that, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, but you're acting the way they want you to act, right? All of the stuff that you're complaining about, that you claim created these circumstances, you're still falling for it. Like, how can you be upset with something that is a psyop or is programming when you're still engaging in it? Because the knowledge of self part is once you realize you're being programmed and you're being socialized, that's when you're supposed to stop.
Right.
And do something different and say, okay, you know what? I'm not, it's kind of like with, Brother Malcolm. Once the brother taught him what he was doing, he stopped doing that to his hair.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's not going to keep doing it to his hair and walk around with the conch in his hair, talking about some, the reason why we want to straighten our hair is because, we have this complex where we believe that, white people are superior. And you're looking at him like, bro, you got it in your hair right now. You know what I'm saying?
Like you making the point that you really talk about yourself, brother.
You're making the point. And it's like, to me, it's like, look, folks can complain until they blue in the face, but it's annoying to me whenever I'm witnessing the programming. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, there's a dude, I don't know if you've ever seen him. He goes by JP for president, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he got a YouTube channel. We've had back and forths about Black history. Now, the thing about him is he's one of the pseudo pro-blacks I'm talking about. He just doesn't have the information or the knowledge. His heart is in a decent place, but he just doesn't have the information, right? So he's arguing with me about the white man's books. Because I'm trying to explain to him some of the books I've read, and he's trying to make it seem like the only people that ever wrote books in the history of the world was white people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you complain. I said, first of all, white people are not the only authors. That's number one.
Right.
I said, second of all, you're priding yourself on being black or being a black man. And you're saying that you don't want to base anything off of the white man's logic. But you being black is the white man's logic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the entire concept of black, white, racism, all of that, it's the white man's logic. So the very thing that you pride yourself on is literally what you were educated to do.
Right.
And not by your own people, but by somebody else. So I'm like, bro, you got to understand that before you start talking about how messed up the white man's logic is when you're literally living by the white man's logic as we speak, And that's the part that annoys me, because the one thing that that's why I was upset when Sinetta came in there and said what he said and bounced. I was like, nah, bro, don't bounce. Come back and let's have the conversation.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? Normally, I kind of, because me and him have an excellent relationship, and I usually kind of pick up what he's on, but I don't know what that. And I was mad they booted him. I wanted him to stay. They should have let him stay.
Yeah,
because I wanted to see where that was going. I did too. I wanted to see what was the reason he came in so hot. What triggered him? I wanted to get into it. Like I really wanted to see like what was his point, because and just to jump on what you were saying about the black and white man wrote everything. Like black people got to get out of the white man wrote something, because anybody can write something. Whether it's true should be the most important part, because black people write stuff too. Anybody can write something, but when you read it, does it correlate? Is it true? Is it factual? Then it's something that you can use. And I think sometimes brothers like that want to free themselves from the white man because of what the white man did. So I understand that part, but they don't have the intellect to actually do it.
To do it.
They just doing it from statements. They, like, you made a point to say back in the day you had to actually read and research. I come from that cloth too. Whereas now it's so much information, but people don't search the information. Chat GPT, you can find all that shit like right away. If you, especially if you got the paid version. I typed stuff in Chat GPT, found something I didn't think was legit, like real. And then I look it up, I'm like, wow, it's real. And so I think that if you're not willing to put in the work, you'll just be that cat just think I ain't reading nothing because it's white. That sound like them cats. I can't read them pages because it's white pages, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
The pages is white, man. I can't read that. So I can't, I don't really I don't be understanding cats like that. Cats like that crack me up, and they really got to get out the way because it's like the analogy you gave was perfect. If the wino was going down saying we can't have liquor stores, but you the wino, it ain't really going. It ain't gonna hit. It ain't gonna hit like the sober man that's saying we tired of that. The sober man that's saying, oh, they gonna be like, okay, maybe we might want to listen to him. He is sober.
Yeah, if he's the dude that you saw sitting in the gutter with the liquor for years,
right,
and now he's sober and he's standing there dressed nice, clean, sober, and he's talking about we need to get rid of these liquor stores. You gotta listen to him. You have to listen to him, but man, Ned the wino can't come up in there talking about we need to get rid of these liquor stores.
Not at all.
Like, is this a joke? Like, you the biggest customer.
Nah, you ain't lying about that, man. You was dead on point. I agree with that. I agree with that too.
Word. But yo, fam, I ain't gonna keep you too long, bro. I'm glad you was able to come through and you was able to get something together.
Yeah, and you gave a perfect title, like Real Talk Unfiltered. And I think us being able to just talk off the top of the head, I think we gave the audience, I think, a good show. No articles, no stories, no nothing, just two brothers from two different world lenses. But really you find out, and this is what everybody should always pay attention to. Most of the times, if you're the right type of black man, we're gonna have the same views for the most part. Maybe a different way to get there, but the end result I think is the same. So I think it was a good, I appreciate you bringing me on the platform, brother.
Word, definitely, man. Yo, let everybody know where they can find you, what you got going on, whatever promo you feel me.
I appreciate it, man. I'm Captain Tazaryach of I Should Be County Commander Jenny Hunter. You can find me. I'm Captain Tazaryach TV on YouTube. I have a business. If you go to my website, carlgas.com, I sell body butters, body oils, body sprays. I sell hair crack that actually grows your hair. It's really hair tonic. I call it hair crack from the movie Beauty Shop that Queen Latifah had. She called her hair product. So it actually helps your hair grow. It's the product that actually all my family, all the women in my family, they actually buy that more than they buy anything else because it actually help your hair grow. I'm Tazaryach on Instagram and Facebook. I go live pretty much every day. I have something that's called the Car Chronicles. I've been doing that since like 2019, where I kind of sit in my car. I address current events, biblical topics. I take phone calls. It's pretty all interactive. So that's where you can find me. And again, I appreciate Angryman bringing me on the platform. Looking forward to doing some more. You let me know anytime. You hit me up and we could do some more topics and stuff like that.
Definitely, brother. Definitely, man. I appreciate you coming through.
All right.
And showing love, bro.
Definitely.
Let's see. I'm gonna bring you down for a second, but stick around for a little bit. I'm gonna holler at you after the show.
Okay, no sweat.
All right, cool. Yo, so to everybody in the building, I appreciate y'all coming through, man. Look, hey, y'all, look, shout out to Young Illuminati for supporting the show. Appreciate you, brother. Y'all know when I do shows like this, I'm not gonna be pushing
Appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. I'll see y'all 2 live streams back to back. I will be doing a Car Chronicles tomorrow. I got another debate tomorrow with a pastor on Tony Harvey's platform. I look forward to that. Until next time.